Warmly welcoming you to How Does She Do It, the podcast, with me, your host, Jo Ferroni. Join me on my journey as I explore finding a gentle balance in both business and life, because being kind to ourselves is our superpower. Ladies, hello and happy September. Goodness me, it feels like quite a long time since I last recorded an episode for you of me alone. And I did some great forward planning before the summer holidays to ensure that I was able to keep bringing you my lovely, lovely guests throughout the summer without having to go through or put my guests through the time restrictions of having to record during the summer. So it's actually been quite a long time since I was behind the mic. So today is another little challenge for me. Do you find that if you do something regularly, even if when you started it felt like a mountain to climb and a real step out of your normal reach, that if you're doing it week in, week out, you ease the pressure, I think, and ease the, I don't know what the word is, but you just make it feel a little bit more normal, I guess. And I'm thinking that perhaps I need to do a few more solo episodes if you will allow it, to enable me to just get a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more familiar with the process and how it feels to sit in my office talking to nobody. It's a really unusual feeling. I don't dislike it, but I do want to feel a little bit more at ease with it. So that's where I'm at. Well, actually, I'll tell you a bit more about where I'm at. We're obviously going to be talking today about September and taking it a little bit slower. Now, this might not be for everyone, but based on the conversations I've had with clients so far over the last few days, across the beginning of the month, and based on how I am feeling right now, I feel that there is a need for this conversation. So if you have got everything sorted, you are on fire with your business, with your life, you're feeling energized and everything is heading in the right direction, then please do feel free to step away from this or maybe pass it on to somebody that you feel perhaps does need it. And all power to you. I love September and usually find it a very energized and quite fast-paced month, actually, which works really well with the energy that I usually feel around this time of the year. But like others, as I said, that's not necessarily where I'm at this year. And I think we can be quite quick to disregard our feelings and think about how we should feel or how we normally feel. But it's actually okay to assess where we are right now, regardless of our expectations or normal sort of patter, normal routine. So it's going to be a conversation for those of you that feel perhaps that September hasn't been a wild and driven and highly energized month so far. Now, before I get started, I guess I should tell you a little bit about where I'm at. It's interesting that I am not really back on social media just yet, and apologies for that. I'm sure that you're all ticking along and maybe haven't even noticed I haven't been around so much, but I need that break from social media. I need to quieten the external noise, if you like, to be able to gather my thoughts, recharge my energy and find my high vibe again, if you like, after a busy year so far. I often tend to take the summer away from social media, and this year has been very similar. I've obviously continued to put the podcast out and I've talked about that, but apart from that, I haven't really been on any of the platforms. So forgive me, but at the same time, understand that we all need to do what's right for us. So if staying on social media all year round many hours a day is what lights you up and what works for you and what works for your business, then carry on doing it. Again, we're all very different. And I know that people tend to come to me when they do take a social media break because they might have given it a go and they know that I've done it many times in the past because I've spoken about it. And it's really lovely actually to hear how they feel and what they learned from it and perhaps what they're really looking forward to getting back to when they go back onto the various platforms. I've not been promoting my services massively at the moment because I want to ensure that I'm giving my current clients all that they need from me. And whilst I regain my energy, I know that that is my capacity right now. In my mastermind group chat over the last few weeks, the ladies have been talking about all sorts of things, whether it's new ideas, whether it is pacing themselves, working out their boundaries and what have you. And one thing I made a comment on was asking whether the people that are parents, whether they had actually taken a moment to draw breath since their children went back. Because the observation I made was that, and I understand this and I've been there, I really, really understand it. It is really tempting and you almost feel like it's essential that the moment that you do have that space because your children have gone back into their schooling or nursery environment, you've got that space and you feel that you need to fill it with productivity and money making and growing your business. Now, whilst I applaud anyone getting productive and looking at how best to monetize their business, I also very much recognize from past experience and from all the clients I've worked with as well, that we actually might do even better with the business side of things if we allow ourselves that moment to pause. And when I say moment, I don't mean a solitary moment either. I am suggesting to my clients, and I put this out there to all of you as well, that you make some time just for you. Okay, and we're going to cover a little bit more about that when we come on to today's topic. But if you haven't got the time to listen to the rest of this episode, then my one message to you today is to get your diary out and see if you can cross through a whole day where you have nobody to worry about, nothing that you have to do, and to make it a day that lights you up. Now, of course, lighting you up could be different from how I light up. It might be that you want to go shopping for the day. It might be you want to go hiking and see some scenery. You might want to hook up with friends. You might want some solitude. You might want to get creative, get musical, just get active. Or you might just want to sit on your sofa and read or watch a film. Sometimes, if I'm feeling really, really exhausted, I will lie in my bed under the covers doing meditation. And I'm not embarrassed to say that because I've learnt that we need to listen to our bodies to see what we will really benefit from at that time. And yes, it can be a quicker and easier move to pop a coffee on and to eat a bar of chocolate, and that can give you the lift that you feel that you need. But for me, and let me just make a note here, I do the coffee, I do the chocolate. I'm no saint. But for me, I know that to lie in bed and do a meditation that will really, really energize me and make me feel more alive is not a guilty thing anymore. I don't feel guilty that I've been in bed in the middle of the day because I know that it's going to benefit not only me, but the people around me, my work, my clients, my boys, my husband. There's a ripple effect that comes from us switching off and looking after ourselves. So For any of you that don't have time for the rest of this episode, there's one little point. There's lots more I'm going to share today, but if you listen to nothing else, please just book in the time to take a break. And I talk about a day. Maybe not everyone has a day. Even if you've only got 2 minutes, take a moment to do something for you. September can be a little or a lot like New Year. It's an exciting time. It's that clean slate that we offer ourselves, a chance to start afresh, set goals, maybe build new structure. But unlike actual New Year in January, usually the weather has been recharging us throughout the summer. We're maybe in or around water, which can be so replenishing too. Or maybe that's just me who heads to the water in the summer. But often there has been a chance to live without timetables or too much structure. And so when September arrives, and in the case of those of you with children as well, it can feel different. There is time and space to plan, to hit the ground running, feeling refreshed, raring to go, and so super energized. Life is wonderful, right? Oh, but hang on a minute. What if that's not how you feel? You look all around you, you see everyone else's vibrancy and activity, their achievements, but you're not feeling it too. It's very easy when we're feeling a little bit stilted ourselves to look externally. And of course, the people that we're going to hear from if we're looking on social media are the people that are feeling vibrant and productive and on it. And so to view their messaging can be a little bit disheartening. But of course, the people that are not quite there are not the ones that are posting right now. And maybe I'm a bit unusual for talking about it here on the podcast today, but that is why I do what I do. I want to talk out about the things that maybe people are feeling, but they're not speaking about or they're not sharing. And so you're seeing what the high achievers are doing. You're not really feeling it yourself. And so you begin to feel almost like you're the only one. You're the odd one out, and you don't know where to start. If any of this is relatable to you, then let's carry on with the show and work through it together. But before I share an outline of what I'm going to cover today, I just want to remind you that you are not alone and it really is all okay. Let's not underestimate the very, very different 18 months we've all been going through. Everyone has experienced different things, challenges, struggles, upset, grief, isolation, mental health. So many things have been challenging in ways that we've never been challenged before. And there has been so much adaptation and struggle. And I believe it's really important that we acknowledge that and understand that the way that we might be struggling could be because of the build-up of what we've been going through this last year or so. So if you're in a place where you're just not quite sure what to do next, how to start, how to get back into things, and your mind's a little bit of a muddle and you just need a little bit of direction, I can assure you that I'm going to share some tips with you today that I'm working through myself right now, and I hope that I can make it nice and clear for you to be able to take notes of the things that you feel would work for you and go away and try implementing them. So I've got just 8 points for you today. I did want to make it a few less, but I feel that some of them aren't as big as others, and actually I wanted to give you the option to almost pick and mix which ones would work for you and which ones relate to you at this time. So, number 1, and this will require you taking a bit of time out, maybe securing some time in your diary where you're not going to be disturbed. But number 1 is getting quiet. Getting so quiet so you can really listen. Listening to yourself and your thoughts and your feelings can actually be a little bit of an unusual process these days because, like I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of noise around, external noise, whether that's your clients getting in touch because they need your support, or if you've got children, tending to their needs. But the noise that I'm talking about isn't just within your life, it's that external noise as well from people outside of your circle. For instance, the news, social media, and just general life. So getting quiet can feel quite uncomfortable because I believe that people can feel almost quite comforted that there's lots going on around them. And I feel that if people are able to find that silence and that stillness and that calmness, they are able to start listening to themselves. So even to think, how am I feeling right now? Physically and mentally as well. But you might even notice that your shoulders might be a bit tense, maybe a bit crunched up by your ears. How's your breath? How's your breathing? Are you being conscious with your breathing, or is it sort of sharp and shallow because you're not really noticing it? It happens, but you're not thinking about it. Is it time to step away from social media on your phone for a while? I'm not telling anyone that they should completely come away from it. Like I said, that's a personal thing. That's something that I like to do. But maybe your social media usage has become unconscious and it just becomes almost a reaction. When you're not doing something, you check your feed, or you might have your notifications on and you're alerted. I don't have notifications on anymore, but I don't know how often notifications go off, but at the ping of your phone, your mind is distracted and taken away from whatever you're doing or thinking about at that time. So potentially consider taking social media platforms away off of your phone, so you just have to use a desktop for a time whilst you're trying to get quiet to really listen to how you're feeling, where you're at, and what's going to come next. Number 2, take some time out to assess where you are with life and business right now. So this is along the same lines, but you have exercised a bit of quiet and a bit of listening by this point, and it might have felt uncomfortable and it might have taken quite a few attempts, but that's okay because you're human. Be kind to yourself. But block out some time to assess where you're at. Maybe it's a time now to look at your business from a more of a bird's eye view. And I know this can be tricky because we're so very involved in our businesses. Our businesses are part of us. I understand that. But if you're able to take a pause and look at it from a bird's eye point of view just for a while, you might discover that there are things that you're doing because you've always done them, but actually they don't serve you or your clients anymore. Or it might be a time to implement that new strategy or offer that new service that you've been talking about or thinking about for a long time, but there's never been the right time. Now, something I often suggest to my clients when they need a little bit of brainstorming time and a little bit of time to look at the overview and to really summarize things in their businesses is to step away from home, step away from distractions, and to actually treat themselves. So I often suggest that they take themselves off to a lovely coffee shop that they enjoy, or maybe a really nice decadent hotel. You need only have coffee and biscuits. You don't need to spend a fortune, but you're placing yourself somewhere where you're not distracted and you're at peace, and you might feel really relaxed there and able to really, really think and work on things from a bigger point of view. Another thing that I feel is important to be very honest with yourself about when you're assessing your business and your life is to look at your balance. So is there a balance in your work and your home life? Have your boundaries taken a hit? Do boundaries need to be, thought about again and ensured to be followed? I think that when we are working for ourselves, it is very easy to let one week slip into the next, to the next, to the next. And because life kind of entwines itself within our business as well, because we don't have that differentiation between work and personal life, it can be easy to slip into habits that just don't really serve us, or maybe routines that could work better for us. So that was taking time out to assess where you are with everything right now. Now, it's probably a good time for me to mention that as it isn't very easy for us to do these things on our own because our businesses are so intrinsic within us, that is something that I offer to clients to work with you. I love to brainstorm with you, to bring my ideas, to bring my observations to you and your business as well, and to work with you as your right-hand girl, right-hand woman. And it's just incredible how many similarities there can be across different industries of business, actually. So I can bring guidance and support and suggestions to you that I have witnessed in a completely different industry to the one that you work in, but it can work so well to apply it to your business as well. And together, it can be a very motivating and progressive time, and a really good opportunity to have me maybe point out some of the things that perhaps you had noticed but weren't quite sure about what to do next with that thing, and how to move forward without changing everything massively or causing yourselves a whole load of hassle. So taking time out to assess doesn't have to be done on your own, and it is certainly something that if you drop me a line, I would love to tell you how I could help you and we could work together. Number 3, lean in to a new self-care routine. Now, this doesn't need to be endless hours of yoga. It doesn't need to be you training for a marathon. It can be such a small incremental step, if you like, towards your future self-care and your future health. But I believe it's really important. Now, I used to be of the thinking that once I'd done all the work, then I would treat myself to the self-care. I have completely turned that on its head in recent years, and it took a while for me to almost find peace with that and not feel lazy. I did feel that I was almost being greedy to do a yoga practice in the morning and not start work until 10 o'clock, or have a cooked breakfast which was going to sustain me through till lunchtime, rather than have a very quick bowl of cereal, if you like, that I could do really quickly and then get to my desk. So I now have turned things round and do it naturally, but it didn't come naturally to begin with, if you see what I mean. So make you and your self-care your number one priority. And what I mean by that is have a think about what you don't have in your life that would benefit you and all those around you, because never forget the ripple effect of looking after yourself. So it might be that you've been thinking about finding a class, a dance class, a yoga class for a long time, but you haven't yet got round to it. Take some time, look one up, ask around, ask in the How Does She Do It Facebook community. We have so many amazing instructors. Equally, we have so many amazing therapists. Treat yourself. Is it a massage you need once a month? Is it reflexology? Do you need to see a nutritionist to help you with your gut health or any other kind of health issues? Again, we've got all of these amazing women. You don't need to go and Google something and look through a directory to see who's qualified to do something in your area. Just pop a note in the Facebook group and I promise you will find someone that will help you either online or in real life, and you will be supporting a small business as well. Whatever you do, do what you need. You don't have to do the same self-care as your best friend or what I do. And if you don't know where to start with self-care, then head back to episode 1 of my podcast, where I offered a few of my free self-care tips. So things that don't cost money, like a massage or a class, but things that you can absolutely implement into your life with little time and no money either. So it's really, really important that self-care is high up the list as you embrace this slower September. Number 4, get out there and start seeing people again. Now, all of these suggestions from me are ones that I'm listening to myself and implementing myself right now, but I know speak to you as well. And if you're anything like me, you might be struggling a little bit with social anxiety right now. What we've been through in this last 18 months is quite unlike anything we've been through before. And many of us are getting back to social occasions and meetings and what have you at different rates and with different levels of comfort. So what I am meaning here is to get out and meet with your business buddies, to talk about where they're at. Share your stories, share your experiences, share the ups and the downs as we do here at How Does She Do It. It's not about making crazy business deals and getting loads of new sales. It's about building your foundations again, just rebuilding the foundations as we've had this long break from seeing people in real life. It will be uplifting for you. It'll definitely be uplifting for the other person as well. And it will create a conversation and an opportunity for you to get out of your head and to really remember the value of not just connection with others, but the value that you offer others as well. Number 5 is declutter. Now, even if it's just a few things a day, I really, really believe that it's going to make a difference to so many things, from your well-being to your productivity to your peace of mind. Now, I think that it's not just about things, it's also about thoughts as well. So to cover the thought side of things, it might be a great idea to grab a journal, any notebook that you've got, even a scrap of paper, and just have some time to sit down and offload your thoughts, whether it's worries, whether it's ideas, whether it's anything, really. Just get them out of your head and onto paper. You can then decide whether you want to do anything with that or whether you want to throw it away, burn it. It's entirely up to you. But what I think is important is that you create a little bit of space in your mind, because to have that clarity and that sense of peace in your mind can really help you as you move forward and begin to progress with your business again. In terms of the things, the actual things, it is something that you can do on a grand scale or on a very small and gradual scale. Now, the things I'm going to talk about briefly now might feel a little bit out of your depth. It might feel just not for you right now, and you can't cope with the idea of decluttering and getting your head around it. If you're feeling like that, please do reach out in the Facebook community, because we have some incredible declutterers in the community who work to support you. Like I support people with their businesses, these people support you with your things. And they know that it's not just about things, it's about emotions and so much more than just the things. But if it's something you do feel that you can do on your own, I suggest that you just start small and set yourself a target to declutter small areas at a time, but set yourself goals so you don't get too caught up in it. Set yourself timelines so you don't go on forever just going through the same stuff, not being able to get rid of it. But yeah, whether it's your desk, whether it's the kitchen cupboards, it really can be anywhere that you feel needs a review, because it is that time of year. It doesn't have to be spring when you do a spring clean. If now is a time when you're embracing a bit of slow and needing a little bit of clarity, then decluttering could be very beneficial to you. Number 6 is working out new boundaries. Now, it can be easy, like I said earlier, for the weeks to roll into the weeks. We just don't get a lot of separation between home life and work life when we work for ourselves. And as such, we don't necessarily give ourselves time to put a stop to things maybe that have been happening for a while, but you're not very comfortable with, or indeed started to put boundaries in place for things that you want to ensure do happen. An example I was thinking of was, you work from home, you might constantly have a neighbour wanting to pop in for a chat or for a coffee or for a favour. And it might be a good opportunity to not be unkind to this person. Of course, I would never, ever suggest that that is what you do. But maybe to just set a new boundary and to explain, although I'm at home during the day, I am actually working, I'm running a business, and so my time is quite precious and I need to keep my mind on things or working with my clients. So is there any chance that we could catch up for a coffee when we put it in the diary? Or I'm not going to be working until 11 o'clock on Fridays. Why don't you come over at 9 and we'll have a good old catch up? I hope that makes sense. That's just one little example, but it can be easy for people in our lives to not quite understand that because we're not in an office being managed by a person, that we don't have boundaries. But we must have boundaries. We've got to, for our own sake and for our own sanity, we need to make some clear boundaries. Number 7 is to set realistic and timely goals. Now, you've heard this a million times. You don't need me to tell you that. But where I'm speaking a bit differently at the moment is I don't want you to set yourself up for a fall right now. If your energy is a little bit low, if you're not quite up to speed, not firing on all cylinders, then I don't want you to make the mistake of setting the timelines and the goals that you normally would at normal full capacity. Okay, so just think carefully before you tell your client you're going to get something to them in an hour's time. Maybe it would normally be an hour's time that you'd get something to them, but perhaps it's now 3 days at the moment. And no one will mind as long as you're keeping people informed, but just work to your own capacity and your own pace right now. And the final point I wanted to share with you today, number 8, is review. It's so important that we don't just get caught up on this treadmill where we never stop. It goes round and round and round, and we feel like we're never getting all the things done. We're losing track of our personal goals, we're losing track of our work goals, but we just keep on moving because there's always so much to be done. I invite you to have a weekly check-in where you look at where you're at with the business, where you're at with your self-care, what's been a struggle, what's been a win, and what you want to ensure that you achieve the following week. Now, this can take as long as you want it to take. You might not have very much time, so it might just be a quick list, one-word answers. Or it might be that you set aside a couple of hours at the end of every week just to sit, be still, get quiet, and listen and look back to see how you've progressed during that week. Now, again, this is something that I can help you with. Sometimes it's so much easier when there's somebody else who you're almost reporting back to and working with on something, rather than feeling that you're doing it alone, no one's checking anyway, and then you end up feeling lost and like you're treading water. So it can be something you do yourself, or it can be something that you do with the support of someone like myself or many other people out there. So that's 8 points today, which can be looked at and worked through to greater or lesser extents. It very much depends on what's working for you right now, how your timing is, whether you're stretched for time or whether you're not. What I would like you to consider is, even if you pick 2 or 3 of the points, pick a mix, like I said, and start giving them a go and commit to giving them a go as you work through the rest of this month and maybe into October as well. It's absolutely your timeline. Then it will make a difference to you. So just to recap, getting quiet to really listen to yourself. Take time out to assess where you're at with life and business. Lean into a new self-care routine. Get out there and start seeing people again. Declutter your mind and your space. Work out the new boundaries. Set realistic and timely goals based on the pace you're working at right now. And review. I really hope that you will be kind to yourself as the month progresses and as we move into October as well. There is nothing more important than going at your own pace right now. Go gently. Be kind. I know you're kind to other people, but don't forget to be kind to yourself. And if you need any support whatsoever, then please get in touch. Thank you so much for listening, and I really look forward to bringing you awesome guests who I've got lined up for the autumn, coming very soon with all sorts of wonderful stories, wonderful guidance, and so much inspiration. Big hugs to you all. Take good care. Thank you so much for listening today. I really hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, I'd love you to take a moment to share and subscribe too. Come and join me over at How Does She Do It Life on both Facebook and Instagram. And until we speak again, I wish you a wonderful week ahead.